Hello, my name is James Willens and I'd like to tell you about Coiza, which can be found at www.coiza.com. I built Coiza to allow me to access all the different information sources that I've got distributed across the web. Things like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, news websites, email, and countless other websites that I visit daily. And what Coiza does is it brings all that information into a single place and allows me to access it from that single place within Coiza. I find it extremely useful and I suspect many other people will do too. You can log into Coiza either using your existing Google account, Facebook account, or you can register directly with the tool itself. I'm going to log in with my Google account. And here we have the main Coiza user interface, and it's really quite straightforward and hopefully intuitive. Within Coiza we subscribe to channels, and channels are some form of information source. So here we have my subscriptions down below at the bottom of the screen, and we have information coming from Facebook, the Facebook channel. We've got information coming from Twitter. We've got information coming from the BBC News website, and similarly from the Wired Technology website. We've got a channel that's giving us Wikipedia articles that are relevant within 1,000 meters of my current location. And we've also got the weather in my current location. Currently not looking too great. Finally, within my subscriptions, we've got a channel telling us about other channels available within Coiza, and we can add subscriptions from here, and we may talk a little bit about this later on. New subscriptions can be added by clicking the Manage Subscriptions button, and we can see our existing subscriptions displayed in here. So let's add a subscription to the LinkedIn website. We select that and click Close, and we can see LinkedIn has been displayed here. Now, LinkedIn, like some other information channels, require us to log in and accept that we can move information for display into Coiza. So we click the login button and then refresh, and there we have all my LinkedIn information in addition to the information coming from the other channels. That's it. All your social media and other information in a single place. Very straightforward and hopefully very intuitive. If you're only interested in subscribing to existing channels, then you can probably stop the video here. Please log into Coiza and start using it as a hub for your information. However, if you're interested in building and publishing new Coiza channels, and possibly have a little bit of programming experience, for example writing Excel macros, you may be interested in the Coiza channel builder and building new channels within Coiza for you to use, but for also other people to use too. The channel builder within Coiza is accessed by clicking on the Create Channels tab here. Channels within Coiza are defined in a language called Coizalang, and what we're seeing here is a IDE for editing and testing and ultimately publishing Coizalang code, and therefore introducing new channels into Coiza. Down the left we've got code that I've already defined. In the middle here we've got a code editor that we'll start to use and see in a moment. I'm not going to give a tutorial to Coizalang here. There's a developer's guide available if you click on the link here that's really quite comprehensive. It talks about the different constructs within the language, the program lifecycle, and gives various tutorials that will get you up to speed with using Coizalang to define channels. What I do want to do is give you a sense of how Coizalang is used to introduce new capabilities without getting into the nitty-gritty of the language. So, to give a hello world example, I'm going to create a new channel called Say Hello. So I click on the new button, we give a code name, and we also give it a user readable name, which often is displayed within the subscription feed. Say Hello. And here we can see we're starting to use a code editor. We can also see that it's telling us that there's a fault with the code, incomplete in some way. And this highlights the fact that it's interactive. It contextually checks to make sure that the code is type checked and complete. So channels output some information, and that's defined as a port. So let's create a new port to output some information. And we can look up data types and channel types if we want to introduce those. And I'm looking for a specific type called string obj, which wraps a string. Channels also take parameters, or can take parameters. So I'm going to create a parameter called name, and I'm going to type that as string. Okay. We want this channel to do something, and we do things within channels within a body. Okay. And what we want to do in this instance is we want to define some output that says hello, whatever the provided name was. And the keyword emit is used to do that. So we emit a new instance of a data type. We set a slot within there to hello. We can see we've got another error here. We've created new string, which is wrong because we need to create a new string obj. And we can see that we're missing the type string obj because we've not fully qualified it as we have in the port here. So instead, let's do this. Let's use info and then we can be there's no name within the string obj type, but there is string, and in fact that's what I intended. So there we have a complete program. The channel takes the parameter name, which of type string, it outputs things of type string obj, and we're outputting one thing and constructing a string obj, and we're setting the slot within there to hello and appending the parameter name. So let's test that. Hello James. By the way, we can also make it a little bit more intuitive by putting your name, and of course it's missing the reference there, so let's copy that down. So we're only emitting one thing from this channel because that's all we've written within the code. We could of course emit more things. We could create many of those. We could say if we test that this time, we've got a few more things. So not particularly useful, very simple, but it kind of illustrates how Coiza lang is used to define a channel. Once we're happy with the channel, we can then publish it. So let's put a bit more information in the general description. Okay, and now we can publish that channel. So we click publish. Is this channel subscribable? Well, yes it is. We publish that. Now, if we return to our channels, we've got all our channels that we reviewed earlier here. Some of them are being updated, other information has come in while we've been working away in the background there. Let's see if we can add our new channel. And there it is, a channel for saying hello when provided with your name. We add that. If we look at the settings, we need to add the name. And there we've done it. We've added a new channel into Coiza. Not particularly useful, but it illustrates the idea that we create Coiza land code, we publish it, and that channel is available to anyone now. If you want to log into Coiza and look at the available channels, you will see that. You'll be able to pick it and you'll be able to add it to your subscriptions. Now if we go back to that channel, we can have a look at the stats. And we can see that it's being used once today, and of course once this month and once this year. We've only just published it, we've got one user. Of course if we refresh, the stats should now tell us that it's been used twice. So we have a bit of a dashboard here that tells us how our channels are being used and the number of times that they are being queried within subscriptions. Let's create a second channel that's a little bit more useful. To motivate this, let's go to View Channels again and let's do a search for the available weather channels, of which there are many, including weather in place. And let's configure this to return the weather in Boston in the UK. Okay. We add that. We can see it's been added to our subscription feed. We click on that. We can see it's displaying the weather, but rather than for Boston, the UK, it's displaying the weather for Boston in the United States of America. So let's create a new weather channel that's guaranteed to return UK weather. So if we go back to the channel builder, we can see here we've got various different bits of Coiza land code that's been used to define weather channels, including world weather in place, which is the one that's displaying information here. Let's create a new channel that effectively uses the world weather in place channel. It wraps the world weather in place channel to provide the world weather within the UK only. So we create a new channel, and what we're saying now is we want the UK weather in place. Okay, we've got a nice weather icon there. We create that. And we want to wrap the channel that's currently displaying the weather. So we introduce that channel, and let's just call it weather, and we need to reference the type, and the type is world weather in place. Now we want to know which place we want to display the weather for, so let's define a parameter of type string, and we need to add the value of the parameter into world weather in place. Now all channels, as we described before, have an output port. An output port is used to display the information coming out of a channel. So we define an output port, and rather than giving it a specific type, we say that the output port of this channel is that defined within weather. We effectively proxy the output port. And there we have a channel. Except all we're doing is wrapping the existing channel verbatim. We're not making the weather specific to the UK. So in order to do that, we concatenate an additional bit of data on the end of the string parameter to say that whatever place is provided, we want to append United Kingdom to the end. So this time, when we execute the channel and test it, let's put Boston, and this time we've got Boston in the UK. And of course, like the Say Hello channel, we can publish that, we can make it subscribable, and then we can go back to our subscriptions. Let's get rid of this one now because we've got a better option available. We've got UK weather in place available now that we've just created. Give it an alias. And there we go. We're getting the data that we expect. That's all I want to say about Coiza today. So we've talked about how it gives us the ability to view information coming in on lots of different information channels, from social media, from news websites. We've also talked about a much more sophisticated dimension of Coiza, allowing us to build new channels which we can then publish and make available to other users. And those new channels might wrap existing channels or may bring information together in new and innovative ways. And once published, those are available to all users to subscribe to. Please visit www.coiza.com and explore Coiza for yourself. Thank you very much for your time.